So, in replacing panic, it's one thing to understand that panic is giving us that sense of protection. But like I said a moment ago, what we're not taught is that it meets other needs as well. Because if we get rid of panic and now we're strong and empowered, Beth, our parents or loved ones or other people might not like that because their sense of significance, the six needs, their sense of significance goes away because, oh, look at how fucking empowered you are. Oh, no, no, no. When I learned about all of this, I remember my mom in the most beautiful intent. She's like, Tyler, we don't even know who you are anymore. And I was like, so I get it. And so the reason most times when people relieve panic or anxiety or any anger, these emotions for good, the reason that they don't relieve it for good is because when they find a new and empowering emotion or behavior or something, it doesn't fit in very well with their social circle because they don't like that they're all empowered and shit. So they go back to the broken them, and then their parents and family's like, "Hey, Beth, hey, Elizabeth, what's going on?" And you get the connection again. And so it feels very challenging to be super empowered, even though we can all do it that fast because our social circle does not exactly love that. So let's find something in which you feel phenomenal within yourself. And from there, we can also meet the needs of the people around you. Not people please, not that. I hate when people think that what I'm about to say is people pleasing. The only way we get what we want in life is by contribution, is by meeting people's needs, but not because we want something, but just because we love them. And so, um, if we think about this, let's say, did you say that they call you Beth?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to understand. Okay, do you like Elizabeth or Beth?
I don't care. They're
Or
both great.
Liz? Or late for dinner, as my parents always said.
No Liz. That is not me. I mean, people will say Liz, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. But yeah, Elizabeth or Beth is fine.
Okay, cool. We want to find one that, right, Elizabeth loves, but that when we're with your family and all that, they still feel significant and all that. So if you were to look at these six human needs and think about if Elizabeth was around her family, but feeling great, not like this, but just good. She's just feeling good, strong within herself, confident, loving, and all that. Which needs do you think that would threaten within them? When I say threaten, I mean like by their perception, bring their needs down. Which ones do you think might threaten of them, or that they would feel less?
Significance.
Okay, and how do you perceive that?
I feel okay. My parents seem to be very, they seem to feel good when we are depending on them, my sister and I.
Right.
And so strikes at independence have been met with retaliation. So I'm wondering if it is this need of feeling significant, because when somebody has a dependence on you for something, you are therefore significant. And I say not love because I think we can be very loving. I mean, I feel like I've been very loving even when I'm independent.
Mhm.
I'm just teasing this out. I'm thinking
Yep.
it's significance.
I would say you are probably hitting the nail on the head with that one. And then I perceive potentially that there could be a secondary one. And I will see if you can get it through a question because it might be like one of those hidden ones in the corner that no one would really see. Um, is there any possibility you think that, like, I noticed this when I was growing up, when I was getting into all of this? It feels like growing up. Where the more I learned, the better I became, the more I was growing and all that. they felt uncertain that we were still connected like we used to be because I was quote unquote somebody else. They didn't perceive me the same way. So they felt uncertain and disconnected from me.
I think yes. And yeah, I mean, I think that's very much my parents in particular are very much creatures of certainty. Like
Mm,
they like this exact schedule, they like this exact, and anything that throws that off, little stuff like small children.
mm,
Yes, I do think that there's certainty. And honestly, like anxious Beth, they know what to expect. There's a pretty solid pattern.
girl, you got it. Give yourself a pat on the back. You are seeing this so clearly, and I could not have more respect or admiration for you. Um, right? They know anxious Beth. They know how to communicate with anxious Beth. They know how to respond. They know they can imagine in their mind what that'll be like to spend the day, the weekend, the whatever with, the dinner with. They just it's a very habitual. They have certainty about it. But
Yes.
empowered Beth, they're like, what the fuck do we do? What do we say? Who are we? Am I less
Yeah.
significant? Where's my little girl? Where's my daughter? Where's my sister? Where's my so no certainty, no significance, no love.
And lose their shit.
Yeah, and so this is the common pattern that we see. It doesn't sustain because then what happens is you feel phenomenal, but they don't feel phenomenal, even though you believe that they are phenomenal. And so their reactions to you growing make you feel like shit and you revert right back.
Yes.
Is
I mean,
I mean the
yes, you could
typical
not
pattern.
have put like a clearer, like if somebody was going to paint a cycle of my parents' life and my life, like you just, yes.
It's like I've done this before.
It is weird. It is like you've done this before.
Crazy.
Uh,
So simple solution, simple in theory, and pretty simple in practice, actually. It's just going to feel as strange as how great and strange it felt this past week to have your first major breakthrough. And that is, and Tony Robbins says this when you're at his UPW. Have you been to his events with Jamie or no? Okay, I couldn't remember. He's been right to all a lot of them.
yes, but and then like he's got all the recorded ones and
Okay,
so we've
so
watched anyway. Go ahead.
there's no, you're good. I was just gonna say there's one part in the 3.5 day event where everybody's having their breakthroughs, like feeling phenomenal. It's like day three out of day four, out of 4 days, and Tony's on stage and he kind of gets the energy a little bit more chill, and he goes, "All right, now let's address an elephant in the room." He said, "How many of you called your family back at home dealing with life and went, oh my God, this is the best thing in my life. Oh my God, I'm growing and I'm so amazing. And I've learned all these things. Tony's amazing. And blah, 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 blah. I'm having the best time of my life." And they're sitting there like, cool, good for you. Awesome. And half us raise our hand. And he's like, don't do that. He's like, you're going to call them tonight. And he said, you're not going to talk about yourself. You're going to say, oh my God, mom, every time I do this, I get emotional just because I've done this like 5 times and it hits home so hard. And my family fucking loves it. And I love it because I make it feel great. And that's the real mark of growth, not talking about yourself. But he said, you're going to call home, you're going to say, niece, nephew, cousin, mom, dad, girlfriend, whoever the people back home are. And he said, you're going to say, fuck me, I'm an emotional guy. He's like,
You're
you're gonna
good.
say, hey, loved one, how are you? How's your weekend going? You're not even gonna mention yourself. Just how's the dog? How's whatever's important to you? Yeah? Tell me about it. And they're gonna bitch and they're gonna complain and they're gonna talk to you about the good and the bad, the ugly. And you're gonna say, yeah, I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you when I come home. I love you so much. Just know that I'm thinking about you. Have a good day. And click and you go back to your own stuff. But he said, make them feel heard, make them feel significant, make them feel certain that they're not losing you. And you don't need to do it through the logic of, mom, dad, brother, sister, you're not losing me, because logic is not enough. They need to feel like they're not losing you. And so, what did I do? Of course, the first time I went to this event ever was in 2019. And I was like, Mom, I'm changing my, and she was terrified because she's certainty as well, just like your mom. And for most of you watching the recording, you as well. That's why you're here. Um, a lot of our family, so much, 90% of the world, there are just our family is driven by we need to be certain that everything's a certain way. Um, and when we say we're growing and blah, 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 they feel less certain. So making them feel certain by simple just reassurances, making things about them. Like, hey, Elizabeth's mom, like, how are you today? What are you up to? Tell me about all the good, bad, and ugly in your house, in your life. And most of our parents, truthfully, they want to feel significant and connected by talking about their problems. Don't do what I've done before, which is like, yeah, but no, mom, no, we can solve that. Like, tell me, what is your outcome for this? And she's like, but I'm an outcomes guy. So I was like, no, don't tell me that. Tell me your outcome. Let's get you your outcome and get your results. No, it's just like let her bitch and complain and moan and groan because she's just trying to connect. I'm like, wow, man, that sounds like a fucking like what a bitch. As if that really happened. The crazy, and she's all like, right? But
Yeah.
it's the way you do it. That's how they want their needs met. And so all of this was a metaphor. It was all real, but it's a metaphorical way of how you can do this with your family. A lot of your family sounds like they want to feel dependent upon. That makes them feel certain and significant. I wouldn't start going and being like, "Oh, I can do all these amazing things." I would very much go in there and be like, "What can I do for you? Like, what do you need?" And give them the quote unquote hierarchy. Give them the significance, and it'll be very, very smooth because they won't be threatened by you feeling confident. You can maintain that feeling of confidence, which is great for you. They'll have their needs met and they'll start to get used to the new path.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense. I'm
Love
ready
it.
to
What's that?
said I'm ready to try it.
I love that. How are you feeling?
Good. Really good.
Good. I love that. So, in essence, so you have been and still are one of the easiest clients I think I've ever had, quite literally in my entire life. And it's hilarious and awesome.
My you can't say that's my overachieving heart. Like I'm just like I want to be number one. I want the A plus and the gold star.
well, I will give you an A plus plus and a platinum star.
Thank you.
Get even more. And that said, so this is where like I can tell that you meet your need for significance through one of the ways, because we obviously have many ways of doing it. But one of the ways you seem to meet your need for significance in general as a person, not a pattern of panic or whatever, is through kindness and caring. It's very clear that you have a big heart. A lot of people want to feel significant by being the best and stepping on everyone. I can tell though you're just like I want to make this happen. I want to make it work. That's very much the way I get my significance too, which is why I solve people's problems for a living. So with that said, the reason I say that is because I think you're going to have a very easy time doing this. Once you notice how significant and certain and all your needs are met through meeting their needs and everything is smooth as butter, the change lasts. That's it.
It's amazing and crazy. And I love
I agree. What questions, if ever, do you have for me, or not if ever, if any, do you have for me
it. Trying to think.
right now?
I'm just gonna sort of recap what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as I feel strong, I'm going to make them the priority, make connecting with them where they need to be connected with the priority. And I don't have to do that at the expense of my own boundaries.
Right.
But the goal is to create or strengthen the connection, make them feel heard, make them feel loved, and continue. So now, let's say we're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so if, like, let's say my parents are actually coming to visit, so this is timely. Something
Perfect.
happens, and my mom makes a, like, let's say a remark to try and cut me down because
Mm-hmm.
she's seeing where I'm at. my return is to try to make her feel connected. So, like, let's say she says, am I on the right track?
Yeah, yeah. I want to hear what you're gonna say, but I have something to give you. But I want to hear the example. Go ahead.
Feel like I'm doing like mental, emotional martial arts. And I'm
It
like,
is. Have you ever
okay,
watched the Jack? Have you ever, so here's the kind of emotional, mental martial arts that we're doing. There's some movies where you see like the punching and the kicking and the stabbing and the blah blah blah. Have you ever seen a Jackie Chan movie?
yeah,
Have you ever noticed that he rarely even ever punches somebody ever?
right.
He like takes two punches and then he swings them around and ties their shirts together and just kind of like keeps them stuck. And then he brings the energy of this kick and just they kind of like get thrown over here. He's not hitting anyone. He's using their punches to like, ooh, a gift. Bring it over here. He's not hitting anyone. That's what we're doing. We're just taking
Okay.
the energy of it all, just putting it back over there.
So it's so much less combative, which I love because so
Yeah,
often it's like, go assert yourself. And I'm like, that just makes it worse.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So she says something that is aiming to cut me down. And instead of reacting, I see that as she's feeling disconnected. So then I
And
turn around
insignificant.
okay, she's feeling insignificant.
Yeah.
So I turn around and I say something to the effect of, well, tell me about this. Well, how's this going? So I redirect her. I take it almost as a cry for
Help.
help.
Yeah.
And so I turn around and hey, tell me about this. Tell me about your work with this. Tell me about that. And I bring it to her, like finding that connection. Or,
You're right on the right track. And I want to give you a couple of like strategic ways that we can do this. And like obviously, I'm not gonna have the perfect answer because I'm not in your situation, but we can tailor something in a couple of options. That way, you're ready for them. So no, you're right, like right on the money with that. So it never feels good when we hear, say, our mom make a comment that's meant to cut us down. And in that, the reason it doesn't make us feel very good is because it takes our significance. It takes our feeling of like our significance to them. But that's because our belief about it is they want to be better than me. They want to cut me down. If we start with the belief that, oh, wait a second, this isn't actually at all to cut me down, this is just because she wants to be significant to everybody, regardless if it's me or not. So this is just her own stuff. Number one, that one belief about this is not about me, it puts like almost like this emotional shield where it like bounces off of you versus that's
right.
the first piece, making sure we like receive it the right way because we're not going to change our mom. And for any of you listening, you're not going to change your fucking parents. I promise you. So this is for you too, listening. Um, Receiving it as they just want to be significant. Doing that will allow the comment to like kind of bounce off of you. And in that, you can either like say if it was comment about like Tyler, you're wearing that fucking nerdy shirt again. I mean, making stuff up. Like, isn't that crazy? Like I feel like I'm a 50-year-old nerd with this one on. And then shift the conversation. So you kind of absorb the energy versus and then we can shift the conversation to, but mom, are you telling me about that other thing, that bitch the other day? Or go more positive. It's what however she needs it. Obviously you can feel it out, but remember that girl you're telling me, like, what the fuck is she up to now? Give me the tea, give me the drama on her. Or, mom, like, did you just get those earrings? Like, wow, I wish I could have something. Man, they're so beautiful. Like, bringing it to having her connect with you through the bullshit and the drama, if that's her way. And she gets to feel significant, like, yeah, she's such a bitch, I'm the best, blah, blah, blah. Or if there's a piece of jewelry or something of that nature that you know something different about her, making her feel very significant because of it. If there's something to do with the husband or whatever, just like I like to keep things out of the family specific because we don't want to cause more drama. But in however way you feel like she would like to be significant, kind of absorb in the comment, not for anyone else watching this as well, not just Beth here, not taking it and owning it. I mean, absorbing the energy of it. Like again, the nerdy shirt example. Fucking he looks like such a nerd. Take that off. Trying to feel nerdy for my clients so they want to pay me more. Thanks, mom. Shh, I'm trying. Or just you kind of absorb the energy of the crappy comment, and then you shift it to how they would likely want to feel significant.
Okay.
And you can like this is where ahead of time, even off the call, you can think of a few ways like, oh, my mom would. I'll give you an example of mine so you can kind of get an idea. My mom is certainty driven more than significance, and her beliefs about what has to happen to feel certain is um, not just financially stable, but her both of her kids have to connect with her almost every day, so she's certain that they're okay. We need to be not really traveling that much. We need to make sure that what else is there? Um, she needs to be financially. It's usually finances, and her kids are like physically healthy and safe, which is a normal mom thing. Just when you're receiving it as a child, it feels like a lot because my certainty is like the least of my needs and my priorities. But what I do is when I'm with her in person, because we're talking about that for you, when I'm with her in person, I don't tell her about all of the amazing, fun, cool, adrenaline, like uncertain, scary things I did. I was like, Mom, it was really cool. You know, Sophia and I, my wife, Sophia and I went for a walk and we saw some cute ducks around the pond in our new neighborhood. And oh my God, we're in the safest part of Florida. It's beautiful there. You love the palm trees. That makes her feel calm. You love the palm trees. And we have this like really nice air conditioned spot for you when you come. And I'm just telling her she's hearing safe, 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 safe. I'm not telling her, oh, I was stressed about this one thing with the client the other day, and like I was wondering how I'm going to make this financial thing happen. And oh, by the way, that this car accident thing was so close to me the other day, and then like this, just safety, safety, safety. Now, to me, that's boring, but it's her needs.
Okay. So
Does that
I
kind of
also
make
feel like,
sense?
no, it makes total
Okay.
sense. Like I feel like I almost become a student of them and what their like what their needs are,
Yeah.
and then tailor it, um just tailor my reactions.
And I want you said something there, and it's 100% true. I just want to make sure that we are making the right version of this connection. So yes, and a lot of people would take that and receive it as, oh, what? So I can't be myself, and it's not that. It's understanding people, the people around us, and meeting their needs in a way where like we just know them. Like you wouldn't go up to I'll just give you an example. Like you wouldn't go up to a 16-year-old boy and be like, hey, how are all the pretty little girls at your school? Are you getting your grades all are your grades going good? Are you eating healthy? He'd be like, no, like the girls at my school are so hot and like the newest video game. So you enter that world. Like, dude, tell me about the hot chicks at your it's just entering their world. The
Yeah,
80-year-old grandma who was like sipping tea and very like lonely. And I'm like, how are the hot girls at your like? You just it's just entering worlds, not changing who you are,
right.
right? And so yes, you kind of learn like, oh, dad wants to be significant by all the trucks and the that he's building in his work. Great, I'll talk to him about his business and his trucks. Mom wants to be significant by talking about all the drama and who she's better than at the curling club, making stuff up. But it's just figuring out what works for everyone.
The curling club is like the most Canadian example that I feel like you could have pulled out there. And then they're going to Tim Hortons.
Yeah, for real.
Um,
It's funny. That was as I was transitioning from the dad example to the mom. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, where would like older women like 60s, 70s? I'm like, where would they go? Where would they go? I was like, I don't know, curling, bingo. That would be my mom's example, bingo. But anyway,
um, I'm thinking about it and tell me if I'm tracking
mhm.
as again like more of like a mental karate or a mental dance where I'm not trying to attack or I'm protecting my own peace
Mhm.
and my own feeling good and my own confidence and growth by taking their energy and deflecting it back to them
In a very in by entering their world. That's right.
by
Now,
entering their world and stepping into that but without having to,
Be confrontational.
right. So there's no
Yeah.
confrontation. There's no, we're going to fight. Like everybody's going to protect, like, and then, okay.
Now, of
I'm enjoying this mental picture. I feel like I'm on the right
course,
track.
you absolutely are. You're completely on the right track. And I want to give you two others. I'll keep them shorter, but two other examples, just so you have more, you make more connections about how all this works. So, um, my style of connecting with people, even men who are like macho men and all that, whose significance and connection is up there, and they like to connect by like belittling. I'm a little bit like that because in like it's a man's nature to be a bit like that, but I'm not fully in the way some men are. My brother-in-law, my wife's brother, is he will like make fun of you like hard, but from where I'm from, the sarcasm and all that, like you'll know, I'll be like, oh yeah, like it's very obvious on the face. But here, apparently in her family, it's like, yeah, you piece of shit. But like their face does not tell you. So I've had to learn, like my heart, I don't want to call like I'm very kind and loving in the way that I've learned that. His kind and loving is basically throwing you a verbal. And so I've learned that if I'm not going to get hurt in that arena with him, I need to throw right back. But he loves it and respects it. And he's like, yeah. And so I've had to enter that. So the reason I tell you that one is because unless it's their style of it, like unless that's their world, is you throw back harder and let's see what you got. Don't do it. Like so,
Yeah.
take that kind of energy, absorb it, and then enter their world. If it's their style, fucking bring the war.
And I
The
can
other
only
thing I was
think of one person who's that style. Um, so I get what you're saying. Like it's not
yeah,
as common.
of
And I
course.
like, so
It's actually a lot less common. But when you find that person, you're either going to get hurt like I do every time when like I feel cut down unless I enter the world, and then I do realize it can be fun as long as you throw back. It's not when you
right.
don't. So I do it for that reason. The other thing I was going to say is most people listening to this and or just most people in the world will hear this whole conversation and go, wait a second, you want me to kind of absorb it? Got that part great, and then enter their world, but where's my boundary about this comment or whatever? So I want to address this. Um, you can set boundaries and still be kind and loving. Um, I lost my train of thought. Give me 1 second. Oh,
So
that's right. Most people are so starving to be significant themselves that if they hear a comment, they don't want to kind of like absorb the energy of it and then enter their world. They just want to throw back so much harder because most of us in this world, and truthfully, most people who join this program or my coaching, it's because they're in a place where they're feeling that. So I respect anyone who feels that way. And if the shoe fits, please wear it because I need you to hear this. We want to be significant so bad that we tend to perceive, or a lot of us tend to perceive that if I just absorb it and I like make light of it, right? And then I enter their world, I'm not significant. I need to get them back in order to be significant. And if we run that pattern, it's going to be chaos all the time. And so this is where we need to know our outcome. Do we want to overcome the panic and anger and the emotional swings for good and just get back to harmony and enjoying our life? Or do we just want to be significant at whatever cost? Because at that point, I just can't help you anyway, because you're not going to do what's required,
can
right?
I throw, I think I'm tracking.
Yeah.
Can I throw a mom teacher analogy into this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so if I have a toddler coming at me angry and going, I hate you, I'm not going to that level to be like, well, I hate you. Like, how dare you say that to me? I'm usually going, okay, I understand you feel like that. And I can see that you probably need a nap. So I'm going to enter your world and I'm going to reach out, maybe give you a hug and say, we're going to go take a nap. Like,
Yeah.
am I following this? So it's
You
not,
are.
I've never lost my significance. I'm still the adult. I'm
Yep,
still in control of the situation. You know, toddlers
for
are
sure.
wild, but
Yeah.
but we're not like devolving into a screaming match with a toddler.
Right, exactly. And so I hear a lot of parents, they ask that similar question, and they don't know what to do in those situations. But again, mostly because they want certainty, they want significance. Those two needs, by the way, if you haven't figured it out, are a bitch to have at the top of your like priorities list. Like we need to flip them and bring them really low down. And ironically, when you deprioritize those two needs, you feel a lot of them. Like you feel them a lot. But yeah, to your example, like imagine, right, if Elizabeth, if I came up to you and I'm your toddler and or anybody, and I go, Elizabeth, you have ugly purple eyes. You have ugly purple eyes. Your purple eyes are so ugly. How do you feel?
If you're a toddler,
Or anyone, toddler or anyone. How do you feel when
okay.
I angrily say you have ugly purple eyes?
If you're a toddler, I'm amused. If you're an adult, I'm somewhat amused and also like, are you okay?
See, and the reason you would do that, correct me if I'm wrong, is because it isn't true.
Yeah, I
Because
don't have purple
you'd
eyes.
be confused, like what purple eyes and the purple eyes that I don't have are ugly. Like it just what are you talking about? And so the reason I give that example is because it's so potent that it's clearly not about us because we don't have purple eyes, so they can't be ugly anyway. Um, but that's exactly what happens anytime anybody, including a toddler, is like, I hate you, mom, or I hate you, you suck. It's not about us. They're hurting. So you're right on the right track with the toddler thing too. You're everything in this session you've understood fully. I have no but and edits. No, you're right there.
Except for the Tim Hortons thing.
But you mentioned that, not me.
That's true. Um, so it's more that I need, okay, so I need to go execute it. And my
Yeah,
parents are coming. I got a great week to practice.
it's perfect. And so to recap what we went through and talked about in the previous session and this one just in like a couple sentences, you have gone from breaking that emotional habit of panicking and all that to meet these needs that you've discovered. And you've seen so many of the things that you do habitually, like everybody does do, but you've caught so many of these patterns. You're driving confidently, and you're going to only continue to have that experience as you understand these things. Um, and now we're going to replace the pattern by feeling confident in ourselves, but meeting the needs of other people by entering their world. And that doesn't drop our significance. That just makes everything smooth, and we don't need to lose our significance through that. And that is when change will last.
Okay.
There you go. Now, the one thing I will say, as not the caveat, the forewarning, is that um, even when there's moments where you get hooked a little bit, or even when there's moments where it's a bit of a rocky road does not mean you're not on the right path. It just
Okay.
means a little bit of a rocky road and keep going, right? Just remember that the paved road is right ahead. Get back in there and you're good. Most people think that one moment of like, being hooked is it didn't work. No, that's not what lasting relief means. It means the habitual pattern of this emotion doesn't control us anymore. Okay?
Yes. Okay. I wrote that down because I kind of want to like put that up in my house somewhere because I feel
Yeah,
like
it'll
like
be a
I
good
need to,
reminder.
the kids need to hear it.
Yeah, for sure. So let me know how the rest of this week goes. I'm very excited to hear back.
Sounds good.
All right.
Are we